All right. All right. So I finally beat the Black Knight. Um, Took me about 15 tries, 15 to 20 tries, because I remember I died 10 times, probably more yesterday, and died like seven times today. But it really doesn't matter how high your level is. It really matters the power of your weapon, the power of your consumables, how much consumables you have, your talismans you have on, and whether you're using arcane, intelligence, or um, whether you're using arcane intelligence or fate. So here's how I'll beat Black Knight. Because these fights you can't get assistance in. The people who made this game made it in a way that you cannot get help from anyone when you're fighting a legendary champion fight, because it's a challenge. It's a challenge fight, and challenge fight means you have to solo it. So these are all solo challenges. Even if you're on multiplayer, you cannot fight them. You're not allowed to for anyone to interrupt the fight. The fight is a one-on-one. So since the only way to fight this, because I've never seen anyone join anyone else to fight any of these enemies, any of these challenges together. These were specifically designed to be solo challenges, to see what your skill is, to see how you're able to defeat these legendary champions. And they're strong. They're incredibly strong. They're like demigod strong. Black Knight beat him. It was harder than fighting Godric the Grafted. That's how hard he was. And people say, well, Godric wasn't that hard to begin. People forget Godric was a demigod. And the Black Knight isn't even considered a demigod. So it was harder. So the seven things you want more than anything when fighting this enemy and beating this enemies. You want your weapon to be leveled up to its max capacity, or at least past level 200. You want it to be 7, 8, 9, and then 10. You don't want it to fall within 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 8. You don't even want this to 1. You want this to be 7 and up. For this mission, for this fight, I use the command standard because it has the charge forward ability. Has the frontal jab, and that's necessary because the Black Knight closes in a lot, and you need to move fast to keep him at bay, to stun him. Stun locking this enemy is the secret. That's why I'm also using this shield, which negates 100% damage and has a shield crash ability. It's a heavy ass shield, 17 pounds, but it negates 100% damage. It negates 57% magic, 60 fire, 57 lightning, and 68 holy. It also has a guard boost of 74 at plus 18, and plus its crits is at 100%. So I managed to get this weapon past 200 at plus 18. And I put the shield crash ability on this weapon. You can put shield crash Asher War on any very powerful shield that has 100% physical damage negation. And as long as you level that weapon up, that shield up, past or at 18, you'll be successful with the shield crash. It has to be the shield crash, because the only way to beat this enemy and to stop this enemy from moving fast, because this enemy moves fast as lightning and is always coming after you, you need to stun lock the enemy, stop him from running forward, stop him from moving fast, stop him from moving to the left or to the right. And the only way to do that is to have a weapon that has the shield crash ability. So once the enemy comes for a hit forward to do damage, you block the hit and you do the attack at the same time. So you're not only blocking while they're hitting you, you're actually doing an attack, and this attack knocks them off their ass. If you hold down on your L2 for your left armaments, he will do this shield crash ability. This will give you enough time to knock the enemy off his ass, and while they're on the ground, go for the poker. Or go for the R2. I would suggest go for the poker, because while you're doing this takes a long time. You could get in at least 1, 2, 3, 4 hits with the R1. So that's what I use for fighting this enemy. And it has nothing to do with my level, because this enemy killed me several times regardless of my level. So get your weapon to a +7. Make sure you have on raise strength or raise faith on, and Radagon Sword Seal. If you have Radagon Sword Seal, raise faith if you're using faith ability, raise intelligence if you're using intelligence talisman, or raise strength. I use all strength power abilities, or strength talisman. So basically I'm wearing all 4 strength abilities. 1 raise strength, 1 enhanced charge attacks, which I did for every single weapon. Well, not for everyone, but for my shield. 3rd, raise faith, because it's a faith weapon I'm using for the command standard. And the Radagon to up my strength. So those were what I was using. And then I made sure my strength, since I'm carrying a strength weapon, is high up. And then I made sure my faith was a little high. But I kind of wasted my points within intelligence, because unless you have massive amounts of mind, the intelligence using will not work. I try to use Comet Azure, does not work, because the FP amount that it requires is ridiculously high. You cannot stun lock them with that unless you have a massive amounts of FP, which means your mind is ridiculously high, like level 80 mind, 90 mind, or even all the way up to 100 mind. So if you don't have that, then the Comet Azure on the staff is pointless. This is an alternative to that. Have the shield crash ability on this weapon, and then make sure if you're not using command standard, make sure you use a weapon that does heavy forward thrusting damage attack. That's all I can say about that. So for stats, high ass vigor. Try to get your vigor beyond what I have, because this enemy isn't supposed to be a midway level enemy. This enemy is supposed to be a high level enemy past the midway point of the game. So high ass vigor, enough FP that you could keep casting your shield damage crash ability multiple times, which means the FP I have is decent, but it's not really good. You want that FP to be at 4, which means 40. That means you want your mind to be at 40 so you don't run out of FP. But 30 is okay. Have your endurance up to high enough capabilities at 40 or 50 so that you can wear heavy ass armor. So that no matter what the enemy does and hit you, you won't die off straight, because your body will be able to deal with certain immunities as well as take certain punishment. So even with this on, I wasn't be able to wear the full Radagon suit. I mean Radon suit, because of the weight of the shield and the weight of the weapon combined. So endurance has to be a factor that has to be high up as well. Vigor has to be high up. Endurance has to be high up. Mind doesn't have to be high up, but it has to be decent. And then you could put your 4th to be anything: strength, intelligence, faith, or arcane. Because those are your 4 that you want more than anything. You want vigor, you want endurance, and you want mind. Because you will always need more FP. Because if your weapon has an Asher War on it, it's going to consume FP. Unless the Asher War consumes stamina instead, which in this case, you'll need endurance. So if the Asher War isn't heavy centered on FP, it's going to be heavy centered on endurance. So those 3 you always need high up, unless you actually know that your Asher War is going to be taking it from endurance or no from mind. Then you could not have it all the way up. Like I didn't know that my Asher War is going to take from mind, so that's why I start at 30. Otherwise I would have put it all the way at 40. But I'm not even 100% sure if it was taken from mind. I think it was actually taken from endurance. So either way it's good. So mind, endurance, vigor, very necessary. And then your fourth could be your strength, or your intelligence, or your faith, or your arcane. Because the Black Knight is incredibly fast. And even with a dex of 30, I was able to beat him with weapons that are kind of slow. Like the shield crash, it takes time to do the actual shield crash. But if you are able to anticipate the enemy and stun lock them, you're good. So that's how I did it. 4 things within the stats that you need: vigor, mind, endurance, and then your fourth could be your intelligence, your faith, or arcane, or your strength. And then your fifth will be your weapon strength leveling. It has to back that up. And then your sixth will be your talismans, the talisman that you need in order to beat your enemy. And then your seventh and your last thing will be your flask. You can allocate your flask to be 8 here or to be 5 here. What is mostly increasing your Silurian tier flask, because you have to increase your FP in order to do certain power abilities more. Or you just need your talisman, you just need your endurance to be high up. So either way, 7 things I use against fighting this enemy. And I was finally able to get the Black Knife Tiche here. Died 20 times, probably would have died 40 out if I was under level 100, or 50 if I was under level 100. But yeah, once I figured out what I was supposed to do, that you're actually supposed to stun lock this enemy so they don't run all over the place, it was done wrapped. It was wrapped. I just needed to know the type of weapon I needed to do this. Fast enemy that could stun them with a poking weapon, preferably a spear, and continue and follow up with a shield crash weapon to knock them off the ass, and then use the spear ability to do the poke. And if you manage to dodge the shield crash ability, the spear will stun lock them from moving left or right regardless. So all you need to do is keep the Black Knight in a corner, so like a rock corner where he can't jump up or something. We'll rock here to the left, rock here to the right, make him move to the left or move to the right in a rock formation corner where he can't jump up, and he will be blocked because he'll back up into the rock on the left or the right. And that will stun lock him. That will lock him into that location. And then you could stun lock him once you lock on and knock him into that wall, and he will struggle to try to move left or the right, but there will be nowhere for him to move left or right to, because he can't jump while he's going backwards. He has to turn around to jump on something. But if he's looking at you while he's trying to go backwards, he will always not turn around because he's focused on trying to not get hit by you. So that's the Black Knife Tiche, or the Black Knight Champion Legendary fight. And that's a strategy I use. Hope this is helpful for anyone. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about that.